Commander Zethkar stood on the bridge of his warship, the Stellar Dominion. His blue scales shimmered under the bright lights as he watched the stars through the large viewing screen. The ship was one of the most advanced vessels in the Hegemony fleet. Its smooth metal hull could move faster than most ships in the galaxy. Energy shields protected it from enemy fire. Laser weapons could destroy targets from great distances. But today something was wrong. The communication officer, Lieutenant Vexra, turned toward the commander. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly, showing her worry. "Sir, we are receiving a distress signal from Kepler Station," she said in her soft voice. Zethkar's tail twitched. This was never good news. Kepler Station was a neutral trading post on the edge of civilized space. Many different alien species came there to trade goods and fuel. It was supposed to be a safe place. "Put the message through," he ordered. The main screen changed from showing stars to showing the inside of Kepler Station. A human female appeared on screen. Her face was dirty and her clothes were torn. Behind her, sparks flew from damaged equipment. The sound of explosions could be heard in the background. "This is Administrator Sarah Johnson of Kepler Station," the human said quickly. "We are under attack by the Void Reapers. Our shields are failing. We have 50,000 civilians from 12 different species aboard this station. We need immediate help. Please, anyone who can hear this message, we are running out of time." The message ended and the screen went back to showing stars. Zethkar felt his stomach drop. The Void Reapers were the most feared pirate group in this sector of space. They had been attacking trade ships and stations for over 20 years. Their leader, Admiral Crixtal, was known throughout the galaxy for his cruelty. The Void Reapers never left survivors. "How long until we reach Kepler Station?" Zethkar asked. 15 minutes at maximum speed," replied his pilot. "Take us there immediately." The Stellar Dominion turned and jumped into faster-than-light travel. The stars became streaks of light as they raced toward the station. When they arrived, Zethkar could not believe what he saw.
Kepler Station looked like it was dying.
The large space station usually glowed with bright lights from its shops and living areas. Now many sections were dark. Pieces of metal floated around it where enemy fire had hit. Small explosions continued to light up different parts of the station. Around the station, more than 30 Void Reaper ships moved in a deadly circle. The pirate ships were long and thin, painted black with red markings. They looked like space sharks hunting their prey. Energy beams shot from their weapons, hitting the station's shields again and again. At the center of the attack was the Soulrender, the flagship of the Void Reaper fleet. It was 3 times larger than Zethkar's ship. Dark metal spikes covered its hull. Massive weapons pointed at the station like the teeth of some terrible monster. "Sir, the station's shields are down to 20%, reported Lieutenant Vexra. "I am detecting multiple hull breaches. Life support is failing in several sections." Zethkar studied the enemy formation. His ship was powerful, but it was only one vessel against an entire fleet. Even with his advanced weapons and shields, he could not fight 30 ships at once. The mathematics were simple and harsh. "Send a message to Fleet Command," he ordered. "Request immediate backup at Kepler Station. Priority Alpha emergency." "Sir, the nearest fleet ships are 4 hours away," Vexra replied. 4 hours. The station would be destroyed in less than 1 hour. Zethkar closed his eyes and thought quickly. He could try to rescue some civilians, but the Void Reapers would not allow it. They would attack his ship if he got too close. He could retreat and return with more ships, but by then everyone on the station would be dead. Suddenly, his sensor officer spoke up. "Commander, I am detecting a new ship approaching from the outer system." "Is it one of ours?" Zethkar asked hopefully. "No, sir. The design is not in our database. It appears to be unknown." On the main screen, a new ship came into view. Zethkar stared at it with confusion. The vessel looked nothing like any ship he had ever seen. Where most galactic ships were smooth and curved, this one was angular and boxy. Its hull was thick and dark gray, covered with what looked like extra armor plating. Strange rectangular objects stuck out from its sides. It looked more like a flying factory than a warship. "Try to contact them," Zethkar ordered. Lieutenant Vexra worked at her station for several moments. "Sir, they are using a communication system I have never seen before. The universal translator is having trouble." Finally, a voice came through the speakers. It sounded different from any alien language Zethkar knew. The words were sharp and quick. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Indomitable. We received your distress call. We are here to help." "UES?" Zethkar asked. "What species are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice replied, "We are humans from the Sol system. We came as soon as we heard." Humans. Zethkar had heard of them recently. They were a new species that had joined the galactic community only a few years ago. Their homeworld was far away in a quiet part of space. Most species considered them primitive and unimportant. Their technology was said to be hundreds of years behind the advanced civilizations. "Captain Chen," Zethkar said carefully, "this is Commander Zethkar of the hegemony vessel Stellar Dominion. I appreciate your offer to help, but you should leave this area immediately. The Void Reapers are extremely dangerous. They have over 30 ships, including a heavy dreadnought. You are not equipped for this kind of battle." The human's reply surprised him. "Commander Zethkar, with respect, we did not come here to run away. Can you send us tactical information about the enemy formation?" Zethkar looked at his officers. They all seemed confused. Why would a single primitive ship want to fight an entire pirate fleet? "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Vexra, "their ship appears to be alone. Should we warn them again?" Zethkar thought for a moment, then made his decision. If the humans wanted to throw their lives away, that was their choice. At least it might give him a chance to rescue some civilians while the pirates were distracted. "Sending tactical data now, Captain Chen, but please reconsider. These pirates show no mercy. Neither do we, Commander. Indomitable out." The human ship moved closer to the battle. As it did, some of the Void Reaper vessels noticed it. On the communication channel, Zethkar could hear Admiral Kriegstall laughing. "What is this junk ship?" The pirate leader said with amusement. "It looks like it was built in a scrapyard. Send 3 corvettes to destroy it quickly. I want to finish with the station before more real warships arrive." Zethkar watched as 3 fast Void Reaper ships broke away from the main formation. They moved toward the human vessel with deadly grace. Their weapons began to charge with bright energy. The human ship, the Indomitable, did not turn away. It did not try to run. Instead, it continued moving straight toward the pirates. Zethkar realized he was about to witness something that would change everything he thought he knew about warfare and space. The humans were about to show the galaxy what they were really made of. The 3 Void Reaper corvettes moved like hunting birds toward the human ship. Commander Zethkar watched from his bridge as the sleek pirate vessels accelerated to attack speed. Their hulls were painted black with red stripes that looked like blood in space. Each corvette was small but fast, designed to strike quickly and escape before the enemy could fight back. "Sir, the human vessel is not changing course," reported Lieutenant Vexra. Her 4 eyes were wide with worry. "They are heading straight toward the enemy ships." Zethkar shook his head. "They must not understand what they are facing. Those corvettes have been fighting in this sector for years. Their pilots know every trick in space combat." On the communication channel, Admiral Kriegstall's voice could be heard giving orders to his corvette pilots. "Play with them for a moment, then finish them quickly. I want to get back to destroying the station." The first corvette opened fire with bright blue energy beams. The shots hit the human ship directly on its front armor. Zethkar expected to see the vessel explode or at least turn away. Instead, something strange happened. The energy beams hit the Indomitable and seemed to disappear into its thick hull. Small pieces of armor broke off, but the ship kept moving forward without slowing down. It was like watching someone throw rocks at a mountain. "Impossible," whispered the sensor officer. "Their hull is absorbing the energy weapons." "How are they doing that?" The 2nd and 3rd corvettes joined the attack. Energy beams from all 3 ships hit the human vessel at the same time. The Indomitable's armor glowed red-hot from the impact, but still it continued forward. Then the human ship fired back. What came from the Indomitable was unlike any weapon Zethkar had ever seen. Instead of energy beams, solid metal projectiles shot out at incredible speed. They moved so fast they were almost invisible. The first projectile hit the leading corvette and went completely through its hull from front to back. The pirate ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal pieces. "What kind of weapon was that?" asked Lieutenant Vexra. Before anyone could answer, the human ship fired again. More metal projectiles shot toward the 2nd corvette. The pirate pilot tried to dodge, but the projectiles were too fast. 3 holes appeared in the corvette's hull. Air and fire rushed out into space as the ship began to spin out of control. The 3rd corvette turned to run away, but it was too late. The human ship launched something that looked like a small rocket. It chased the fleeing corvette and exploded when it got close. The blast tore the pirate ship apart. In less than 2 minutes, all 3 Void Reaper corvettes were destroyed. On the communication channel, there was complete silence. Then Admiral Krikstal's voice came through, no longer laughing. What just happened? How did one primitive ship destroy 3 of my corvettes? Commander Zethkar was asking himself the same question. He opened a direct communication line to the human ship. Captain Chen, this is Commander Zethkar. That was impressive. What kind of weapons are you using? The human woman's voice came back calm and steady. Kinetic projectiles and nuclear missiles, Commander. We call them railguns and torpedoes. Old technology, but very effective. Nuclear missiles? Zethkar felt his scales turn pale. You are using nuclear weapons in space combat? Yes, Commander. Is there a problem with that? Most civilized species had stopped using nuclear weapons centuries ago. They were considered too dangerous and unpredictable. Energy weapons were cleaner and more precise. But these humans were using nuclear missiles like they were normal weapons. Captain Chen, Zethkar said carefully, most species consider nuclear weapons to be extreme. Commander, we are fighting pirates who want to kill 50,000 innocent people. I think extreme measures are appropriate. While they talked, the Indomitable continued moving toward the main Void Reaper formation. The pirate ships began to spread out, no longer treating the human vessel as a minor threat. Admiral Krikstal's voice came over the communication channel again. All ships concentrate fire on that human vessel. I want it destroyed now. 6 more pirate ships turned toward the Indomitable. These were larger than the corvettes, destroyer-class vessels with heavy weapons and thick armor. They began firing energy beams and plasma cannons at the human ship. The Indomitable was hit by dozens of energy blasts. Its hull glowed bright red, then white-hot. Pieces of armor broke off and floated away. Smoke poured out of holes in its side. But the ship kept fighting. Their vessel should have been destroyed by now, said Lieutenant Vexra. How is it still functioning? Zethkar studied the human ship more carefully. As he watched, he began to understand something important. The Indomitable was not designed like other warships. Most galactic vessels used energy shields to deflect enemy fire. When the shields failed, the ship was defenseless. But the human ship had no energy shields at all. Instead, its entire hull was made of thick armor plates. They built their ship to take damage, not avoid it, Zethkar said with amazement. Their strategy is to absorb enemy fire while they attack. As if to prove his point, the Indomitable fired its weapons again. More kinetic projectiles shot toward the pirate destroyers. One projectile hit a destroyer's engine section. The ship exploded so violently that it took 2 nearby vessels with it. The human ship also launched more of its nuclear missiles. The weapons moved slowly compared to the kinetic projectiles, but they were much more destructive. When they exploded near enemy ships, the nuclear blast disabled electronics and tore holes in armor. This is madness, one of the pirate captains said over the communication channel. They are fighting like they want to die. Captain Chen's voice came back over the radio. We are not fighting to die. We are fighting so others can live. The Indomitable reached the edge of the main pirate formation. Instead of keeping its distance like most warships would do, it flew right into the middle of the enemy ships. Zethkar could not believe what he was seeing. They are using their ship like a weapon, he said to his crew. They are ramming the enemy vessels. The human ship struck a pirate destroyer with its armored hull. The impact crushed the destroyer's side and sent it spinning away. The Indomitable was damaged too, but it kept moving and fighting. Energy weapons from a dozen pirate ships hit the human vessel. Its armor was now glowing like a small star. Holes appeared in its hull, but still it fought back with its strange weapons. Sir, said the sensor officer, I am detecting something unusual. The human ship is launching smaller vessels. Escape pods? Asked Lieutenant Vexra. No, sir, they appear to be attack craft. Small ships with weapons. Zethkar watched as tiny human fighters launched from the Indomitable. The small ships moved toward the pirate vessels like angry insects. They were so small that the pirates' main weapons could not target them easily. The human fighters began attacking the pirate ships' weak points, their engines, weapon systems, and sensor arrays. It was like watching a pack of small animals bring down much larger predators. Commander Zethkar, Captain Chen's voice came over the radio. Her ship was now badly damaged and surrounded by enemies, but she sounded determined. We are going to need your help soon. Can your ship move closer to the station? Zethkar looked at the battle. The impossible was happening. One human ship was fighting an entire pirate fleet and somehow not losing. The Void Reapers were confused and angry. Their usual tactics were not working against an enemy that refused to follow the normal rules of space combat. "All crew prepare for battle," Zethkar ordered. "We are going to help the humans save Kepler Station." For the first time in his military career, Commander Zethkar was about to learn what it meant to fight alongside humans, and he suspected that nothing would ever be the same again. Admiral Krixtal watched the battle from his flagship, the Soul Render. His red eyes burned with anger as he saw his corvettes destroyed, and his destroyers struggling against a single human vessel. The Admiral was a tall, thin alien with dark skin and sharp claws. He had been fighting in space for over 30 years and had never lost a battle. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his second-in-command. "7 vessels destroyed, 5 more heavily damaged," came the reply. "The human ship is still fighting." Krixtal slammed his fist on the arm of his command chair. "This is impossible. One primitive ship cannot defeat my entire fleet. Send more destroyers. I want that human vessel turned into space dust." But even as he gave the order, the Admiral felt something he had never experienced before in battle: uncertainty. The humans were fighting unlike any enemy he had faced. They did not use the elegant tactics taught in military academies across the galaxy. Instead, they fought with raw determination and weapons that seemed designed for one purpose: complete destruction of the enemy. On the bridge of the Stellar Dominion, Commander Zethkar was having similar thoughts. His ship moved closer to the battle, ready to help the humans. But first, he wanted to understand what he was seeing. "Lieutenant Vexra, analyze the human fighting patterns," he ordered. "How are they so effective?" His communications officer studied the data flowing across her screens. "Sir, the human tactics are unusual. Most galactic species try to avoid taking damage while inflicting maximum harm on the enemy. But the humans seem to accept damage as part of their strategy." "What do you mean?" "They are using their ship's mass as a weapon, sir. When they ram enemy vessels, they cause massive damage while accepting damage to themselves. They also detonate their nuclear weapons very close to their own ship, using the blast to damage multiple enemy targets at once." Zethkar watched as the Indomitable crashed into another pirate destroyer. The impact crushed both ships, but the human vessel pulled away and kept fighting while the pirate ship exploded. They are trading damage for tactical advantage, he realized. They are willing to hurt themselves if it means hurting the enemy more. On the communication channel, Captain Chen's voice could be heard giving orders to her crew, but the words were strange to alien ears. She was not speaking in calm, calculated military language. Instead, she was shouting phrases that the universal translator struggled to understand. "All stations, give them everything we have," Chen shouted. "Remember the Alamo. Remember Thermopylae. Today we show them what humans can do." The alien officers looked confused, but something in the human captain's voice made them feel inspired despite not understanding the words. The Indomitable was now surrounded by enemy ships. Krixtal had sent 12 destroyers to finish it off. Energy beams from all directions hit the human vessel. Its armor was melting in places. Fires burned inside its hull. Any normal ship would have surrendered or tried to escape. The humans did neither. Instead, the Indomitable began spinning as it moved through the enemy formation. Its weapons fired in all directions. Kinetic projectiles shot out like deadly rain. Nuclear missiles launched from every available tube. The human ship had become a spinning ball of destruction. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Vexra with amazement, "the human vessel is using a tactic I have never seen before. They are turning their ship into a mobile weapons platform that attacks in all directions at once." One of the pirate destroyers got too close to the spinning human ship. A kinetic projectile punched through its bridge, killing the command crew instantly. The ship drifted helplessly as the Indomitable launched a nuclear missile at point-blank range. The explosion vaporized both the pirate vessel and a section of the human ship's hull. "They destroyed an enemy ship by partially destroying themselves," Zethkar said quietly. "They are fighting like cornered animals, but with the intelligence of the advanced species." Admiral Krixtal was becoming desperate. His fleet was being torn apart by a single enemy vessel. Worse, the other alien ship, the Stellar Dominion, was now moving to join the fight. "All ships pull back to safe distance," Krixtal ordered. "We will use our main cannons to destroy the human ship from long range." But Captain Chen had anticipated this move. As the pirate ships began to retreat, she made an announcement on all communication channels. "All vessels in this system, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Indomitable. We are about to attempt something that has never been tried before. We are going to ram the enemy flagship. Commander Zethkar felt his blood turn cold. Captain Chen, that is suicide. Their flagship is 3 times larger than your vessel. Chen's reply was calm but determined. Commander, sometimes the only way to win is to be willing to lose everything. We did not come here to survive. We came here to save those 50,000 people on the station. The Indomitable turned toward the massive Soul Render. The human ship was badly damaged now. Half of its weapons were destroyed. Fires burned throughout its hull. Atmosphere leaked from dozens of holes. But its engine still worked, and that was all Captain Chen needed. The human ship began accelerating toward the pirate flagship. Crystal ordered all weapons to fire at the approaching vessel. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and missile launchers all targeted the Indomitable. The human ship was hit hundreds of times as it crossed the space between the 2 fleets, but it kept coming. "Sir," one of Krikstal's officers said with panic in his voice, "the human ship will reach us in 30 seconds. Should we change course?" "No," Krikstal said firmly. "That damaged wreck cannot hurt the Soul Render. Keep firing." As the Indomitable got closer, something strange began happening. Small objects started launching from the human ship toward the pirate flagship. At first, Krikstal thought they were escape pods. Then he realized the truth. "Those are not escape pods," he said with growing horror. "Those are boarding craft." The small human vessels attached themselves to the Soul Render's hull like parasites. Cutting tools began working on the flagship's armor. Human soldiers were preparing to board the enemy ship. "This is madness," Krikstal said. "No species attempts boarding actions during a space battle. It is too dangerous." But the humans were not following normal rules of warfare. As their main ship closed the final distance to the Soul Render, the boarding craft were already inside the pirate flagship. Explosions could be heard throughout Krikstal's ship as human soldiers fought their way toward critical systems. "Sir, the humans have reached our engine room," reported a terrified officer. "They are placing explosive devices on our main power core." Krikstal realized that his flagship was in serious danger. The human ship was about to ram them, and human soldiers were already inside his vessel preparing to destroy it from within. "All hands prepare for impact," he ordered. The Indomitable struck the Soul Render with tremendous force. The collision could be seen from across the star system as 2 massive ships crashed together in a ball of fire and twisted metal. Commander Zethkar watched in stunned silence as both vessels were torn apart by the impact. Pieces of both ships scattered across space. The explosion was so bright that his ship's sensors were temporarily blinded. When the light faded, neither the Indomitable nor the Soul Render existed anymore. In their place was only a cloud of debris and the slowly fading glow of nuclear fire. But something else was happening. The remaining Void Reaper ships were not celebrating their admiral's sacrifice. Instead, they were turning away from the battle. Fear was spreading through their ranks. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Vexra, "the enemy fleet is retreating. They are abandoning the attack on Kepler Station." Zethkar could hardly believe it. The humans had won. 1 ship and its crew had defeated an entire pirate fleet through sheer determination and tactics that defied all military logic. But the victory had come at a terrible cost. Captain Chen and her crew were gone, their ship destroyed in the final attack. Or so everyone thought. Commander Zethkar stared at the debris field where 2 mighty warships had been moments before. Pieces of twisted metal floated in space, glowing hot from the massive explosion. The Indomitable and the Soul Render were both gone, destroyed in a collision that had shaken the entire star system. "Sir, the remaining enemy ships are retreating," reported Lieutenant Vexra. Her voice was quiet, filled with respect for what they had witnessed. 17 pirate vessels are leaving the system at maximum speed. The Void Reaper fleet was broken. Without their admiral and flagship, the pirates had lost their will to fight. They had come to destroy a defenseless space station, but instead they had met an enemy unlike anything in the galaxy. The humans had shown them what real warfare looked like. "What about Kepler Station?" Zethkar asked. "Station shields are holding at 15%. Life support is stable in most sections. The immediate danger has passed." Zethkar felt relief wash over him. 50,000 civilians from 12 different species were safe because 1 human ship had been willing to sacrifice everything. But the victory felt hollow. Captain Chen and her crew were heroes, but they were dead heroes. "Sir," the sensor officer called out suddenly, "I am detecting multiple energy signatures in the debris field. Something is happening." On the main screen, small objects began moving among the wreckage. At first, Zethkar thought they were just pieces of debris pushed by the explosion's shockwave. Then he realized they were moving with purpose. "Those are not random pieces of metal," he said with growing amazement. "Those are escape pods." One by one, small human craft emerged from the debris cloud. Some were damaged emergency pods. Others were the tiny fighter ships that had been launched earlier. All of them carried the markings of the destroyed Indomitable. "How many survivors are there?" Zethkar asked. Lieutenant Vexra worked quickly at her station. "Sir, I am counting 47 human craft. Some appear to be escape pods with multiple crew members. Others are single-pilot fighters. Open a communication channel." After a moment, a familiar voice came through the speakers. It was Captain Sarah Chen, alive but sounding tired. "This is Captain Chen to all vessels in the area. Indomitable crew members, report your status." "Captain Chen," Zethkar said with joy. "You survived!" "Commander Zethkar, good to hear your voice. Yes, some of us made it. We ejected in the final seconds before impact. The Indomitable was designed with extra escape systems for situations exactly like this." Over the next few minutes, more human voices joined the communication channel. Pilots reported their status. Engineers described damage to their small craft. Medical officers requested help for wounded crew members. Despite losing their main ship, the humans were still organized and ready to continue fighting. "Captain Chen," Zethkar said, "bring your people aboard the Stellar Dominion. We have medical facilities and can provide shelter until rescue ships arrive." "Thank you, Commander, but we are not finished here yet." "What do you mean? The enemy is retreating." Chen's reply surprised everyone listening. "Sir, the Indomitable was not just a warship. It was also carrying something very important: evacuation equipment for Kepler Station." Before Zethkar could ask what she meant, his sensors detected new movement in the debris field. Larger objects were emerging from the wreckage. They looked like metallic boxes with small engines attached. "Those are emergency habitat modules," Chen explained. "Each one can house 500 people temporarily. We brought 20 of them. That is space for 10,000 evacuees. But the station is safe now. The pirates are gone." "Commander, with respect, the station took severe damage. Many sections have lost life support. It will take weeks to repair everything. Some people need to be evacuated immediately, especially the children and elderly." Zethkar realized that even in their moment of victory, the humans were thinking about helping others. They had not come here just to fight. They had come prepared to rescue civilians. Over the next hour, the human survivors worked with incredible efficiency. Despite having no main ship, they organized the evacuation operation using only their small craft and emergency equipment. Human pilots flew their damaged fighters to the station to assess which sections needed immediate evacuation. Commander Zethkar watched in amazement as the humans transformed their escape pods into mobile command centers. Captain Chen coordinated the entire operation from a tiny emergency vessel that was barely larger than a shuttle. "How are they doing this?" Lieutenant Vexra asked. "They just lost their ship and most of their equipment, but they are working like nothing happened." "Because for humans, the mission comes first," Zethkar replied. He was beginning to understand something important about this species. They did not come here to win a glorious victory. They came here to save people. On Kepler Station, Administrator Sarah Johnson coordinated with the human rescue teams. Her voice came over the communication channel, filled with gratitude. "Captain Chen, we cannot thank you enough. Your sacrifice saved us all. But please let us help with the evacuation. You have done more than enough." Chen's reply was typical of what Zethkar was learning about humans. "Administrator Johnson, we came here to do a job. The job is not finished until everyone is safe." The evacuation proceeded smoothly. Human pilots flew their small craft back and forth between the station and the habitat modules. Each trip carried families, medical patients, and anyone else who needed immediate shelter. But then something unexpected happened. Long-range sensors detected new ships approaching the system. For a moment, everyone feared the Void Reapers were returning with reinforcements. "Sir, I am identifying the new vessels," reported the sensor officer. "They appear to be more human ships." 3 vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. They were similar to the Indomitable, thick, armored, and covered with weapon systems. But these ships were also carrying something the first ship had not: large sections that looked like passenger areas. "This is Captain Maria Chen of the UES Relentless," came a new voice over the communication channel. We received Sarah's distress signal. Sorry we are late to the party. Maria, Captain Sarah Chen's voice showed surprise and joy. What are you doing here? Someone has to look after my little sister when she decides to fight entire pirate fleets by herself. Commander Zethkar learned that the approaching ships were part of a small human fleet that had been exploring this region of space. When they received Captain Chen's call for help, they had immediately changed course to assist. But what amazed Zethkar most was what the new ships carried. They were not just warships. They were colony vessels, ships designed to carry thousands of people, complete with living areas, schools, medical facilities, and workshops. We brought extra supplies and temporary housing, Captain Maria Chen explained. If Kepler Station needs major repairs, we can house everyone who needs evacuation for as long as necessary. Why? Zethkar asked. Why would your people do this for strangers? There was a pause before Captain Sarah Chen answered. When she spoke, her words would stay with Zethkar for the rest of his life. Commander, humans learned long ago that we survive by helping each other. It does not matter if someone is human or alien, friend or stranger. When people are in danger, you help them. That is what makes us human. Over the next several days, the human fleet worked to repair Kepler Station and care for the evacuees. They shared their food, medical supplies, and technical knowledge freely. Human engineers worked alongside alien repair crews. Human doctors treated patients from a dozen different species. The humans asked for nothing in return. They had come to help, and that was exactly what they did. Commander Zethkar watched it all and realized that something had changed in the galaxy. The humans were not just another species joining the galactic community. They were something new, a people who fought not for conquest or glory, but for the simple belief that all life was worth protecting. The battle for Kepler Station was over, but the real change was just beginning. 3 weeks after the Battle of Kepler Station, Commander Zethkar sat in his quarters aboard the Stellar Dominion. Before him was a report that would change the course of galactic history. The words on the screen told a story that seemed impossible, yet he had witnessed every moment of it. Computer, begin final report, he said aloud. The computer's voice responded calmly. Recording official battle report. Commander Zethkar, identification confirmed. Zethkar looked out his window at Kepler Station. The massive structure was almost fully repaired now. Human and alien engineers had worked together to rebuild the damaged sections. The station's lights shone brightly against the stars, a symbol of hope in a dangerous galaxy. On the 23rd day of the 7th month, the hegemony vessel Stellar Dominion responded to a distress call from Kepler Station. The station was under attack by the Void Reaper pirate fleet, led by Admiral Crickstell aboard the flagship Soul Render. He paused, thinking about how simple those words sounded compared to the reality of what had happened. During the engagement, we were joined by a previously unknown vessel, the UES Indomitable, crewed by members of the human species. What followed was unlike any space battle in recorded galactic history. The door to his quarters chimed. Lieutenant Vexra entered, carrying a datapad filled with reports from across the galaxy.
Sir, you asked me to compile information about human activities in other systems, she said, placing the pad on his desk.
The results are remarkable. Zethkar picked up the pad and began reading. In the 3 weeks since the battle, word had spread throughout civilized space about what humans had done at Kepler Station. The reaction had been immediate and dramatic. In the Rigel system, a cargo convoy under attack by pirates had been saved by a single human patrol ship. The human vessel had used the same tactics seen at Kepler Station, absorbing damage while delivering devastating attacks with kinetic weapons. In the Vega sector, human medical ships had arrived unannounced to help with a plague outbreak. They had brought medicine and doctors, asking for nothing in return except permission to help. Near the galactic core, human exploration vessels had discovered 3 lost colonies that had been cut off from civilization for decades. Instead of claiming the systems for themselves, the humans had reconnected the colonies to the galactic communication network and helped them rebuild their societies. Sir, Lieutenant Vexra said quietly, there are over 50 similar reports. Humans are appearing throughout the galaxy, and every time they show up, the same thing happens. What do you mean? They help. No matter what the situation is, they help. Pirates retreat when human ships arrive. Disasters become manageable when human rescue teams show up. It is like they have decided to become the galaxy's protectors. Zethkar nodded slowly. He had seen this himself during the repairs at Kepler Station. Human engineers had worked 18-hour shifts alongside alien crews. Human doctors had treated patients from species they had never seen before. Human children had played with alien children in the temporary shelters. Language barriers meaning nothing to young minds. A communication alert interrupted his thoughts. The main screen in his quarters lit up, showing a familiar face. It was Captain Sarah Chen, now aboard her sister's ship, the Relentless. "Commander Zethkar, I hope I am not disturbing you," she said with a smile. "Not at all, Captain. How can I help you?" "Actually, I wanted to thank you. The Hegemony Council has agreed to establish a permanent defense station here at Kepler that will help protect this entire sector from future pirate attacks. It was the right decision. Your actions here prove that some things are worth fighting for." Captain Chen's expression became more serious. "Commander, I wanted to ask you something. We humans are still new to this galaxy. We make mistakes because we do not always understand how other species do things. If we ever cause problems, will you tell us?" The question surprised Zethkar. Most species, when they gained power, became proud and difficult to work with. But the humans seemed genuinely concerned about being good neighbors. "Captain, from what I have seen, your people understand cooperation better than species that have been in space for thousands of years." "We had good teachers," Chen replied. "Our own history taught us what happens when people stop helping each other. We decided long ago that we would rather build than destroy." After the communication ended, Zethkar returned to his report. The final section was the most important part. Military analysis conclusion. Human combat doctrine represents a fundamental shift in galactic warfare. While other species have developed increasingly sophisticated weapons and defensive systems, humans have focused on durability, determination, and tactical flexibility. Their ships are designed to absorb tremendous damage while continuing to fight. Their crews are trained to view sacrifice for others as the highest military honor. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. However, the most significant aspect of human military capability is not their weapons or tactics. It is their motivation. Humans do not fight for conquest, resources, or political advantage. They fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. This makes them perhaps the most dangerous enemy a hostile force could face, and the most valuable ally a peaceful civilization could hope for. Lieutenant Vexra looked up from her own work. "Sir, what do you think will happen now? How will the galaxy change with humans in it?" Zethkar considered the question. Already, he had heard that several species were requesting human protection for their trade routes. The Centauri Republic had offered to share advanced technology with humanity in exchange for defense agreements. Even the proud Altarian Empire had quietly inquired about joint military exercises with human forces. "I think," he said finally, "that the age of piracy in this part of the galaxy is ending. The Void Reapers have been scattered. Other pirate groups are avoiding any system where human ships might be present. For the first time in decades, civilian ships can travel safely. But there were other changes too. The disaster relief efforts after the battle had created new friendships between species that had barely spoken to each other before. Trade agreements were being signed. Cultural exchange programs were starting. The humans had not just won a military victory, they had brought different civilizations together. A year later, Commander Zethkar stood on the observation deck of the new Kepler Defense Station. The facility was a joint project between the Hegemony, the humans, and 6 other species. It was both a military base and a research center, designed to protect the region while advancing scientific knowledge. Through the large windows, he could see human ships arriving and departing on regular patrols. But they were not alone. Hegemony vessels flew alongside them, as did ships from the Rigel Federation, the Centauri Republic, and other allied species. Captain Sarah Chen joined him at the window. She wore the uniform of the new Galactic Defense Alliance, an organization that had grown from the cooperation at Kepler Station. "Regrets, Commander?" she asked, watching the mixed fleet in space. "About what?" "About how much things have changed. I know some species were not happy when humans started showing up everywhere." Zethkar shook his head. "Captain, do you know what this region of space was like before your people arrived?" "Dangerous, I assume. More than dangerous. It was hopeless. Pirates controlled the trade routes. Colonies were isolated and afraid. Different species trusted no one but themselves. We had all the technology in the galaxy, but we had forgotten how to work together. He gestured toward the ships outside. Look at that fleet. 3 years ago, those species would never have cooperated on anything. Now they patrol together, share information, and help each other in times of crisis. You humans did not just save Kepler Station. You reminded the rest of us what civilization is supposed to look like. Captain Chen smiled. We just did what seemed right. That, Zethkar replied, is exactly why it worked. As they watched, a new ship approached the station. It was sleek and elegant, built by the Vegan technocracy using human design principles. The vessel combined the best of both civilizations, advanced alien technology with human durability and practical thinking. It was a symbol of what the galaxy was becoming. Not human, not alien, but something new and better. A true community of species working together for the common good. The Battle of Kepler Station had ended in a single day, but the peace it created would last for generations. Commander Zethkar finished his final report with these words. The humans have taught us that the strongest weapon in the galaxy is not technology or firepower. It is the willingness to stand up for others, no matter the cost. This lesson will shape our civilization for centuries to come. And in the depths of space, where pirates once hunted innocent travelers, new ships flew patrol routes under a simple motto painted on their hulls in dozens of languages: never again alone.